maximize delight and keep people coming in. If you're familiar with the concept of flywheels, any other gearheads in the audience? Just me? Okay, I think we got a couple. Perfect. So a flywheel is a method of harnessing and engaging mass and energy. It was invented by James Watt in the 1800s, and if you throw sand in the bearings of a flywheel, it grinds to a halt, like Wheel of Fortune, right? So this thing that's going around and clicking and helping you drive new business. If you upset your customers, they're not going to refer you, and things grind to a halt. If you don't make it easy to go back and come back for more, things grind to a halt. So all of this stuff is interconnected, and that's what I want to talk through. So after we go through maximizing delight and reducing friction, we're going to round up with a little bit and a couple of base level tips on how to help you keep growing your business by delighting and engaging your customers. All right, so we got a crisis in trust in marketing. Look at the screen here, up at the top, firefighters, those folks are amazing. Who's down? Just above politicians, woo, that's us, marketers and salespeople, right? People don't trust the people that are spamming them all day long, the people that are going after that ever-loving click, the people that are baiting you into the 3 things you won't believe about whatever crap you're trying to sell, right? So you need to work on being connected and engaging with people, because what's the biggest way that you hear about people and they hear about businesses, especially in B2B and folks that you trust? It's word of mouth. So the people that are engaging enough, that are willing to click share, or willing to like, or even willing to just say, hey, I heard of this great company, or I heard of this great service, and you should try it. So make it as easy as possible for the people that already love you to go out and connect and do more. So what is the funnel? We all know what the funnel is, right? It's that big thing that we all talk about. I think I counted on just the sessions that I saw today, funnel was mentioned about 50 times. So funnel is, of course, a great metaphor for driving as many people as possible into your business's intake. If you're in B2B, it's leads, right? If you're in straight e-commerce, it's easier, it's just sales. But what are you trying to do? You're trying to fill up that funnel with as much stuff as possible. It doesn't really matter who they are, as long as some of them convert down to that next level, right? And then you keep working on that, and your leads lead to a few less customers, and then you just need to get as many leads as possible because that bucket keeps going. And what happens at the bottom of that funnel? They're gone. And they're already with us, we don't care anymore, right? So that's the problem with the funnel. Inbound, as a marketing philosophy, helps us to move all the way through the connections that we're trying to make. Actually, on the other way around for you guys, this way, right? So going from attract people, connecting and converting, publishing blogs, all that social media stuff that we're amazing at, that's just filling the funnel. That's only one part of the marketing engagement process, though. From there, you need to convert people from strangers to visitors. You need to move into closing, especially if you're in B2B, where you're connecting and you're growing and you're engaging with people via tools like your CRM, sending out emails and connecting with workflows. And then you want to move on to delight. And this kind of teases into where the funnel starts changing into a flywheel, because you do want to delight and have people re-engage and reconnect with you. And the goal of a flywheel is to take this one-way street and turn it on its head and keep things coming back for more. So, funnel drawbacks. Marketing, much as we can, into sales. Sales thinks half of the stuff that marketing gives them is crap, and they're always worried about it. You know, I can just get those sweet leads, right? Always be closing, coffees for closers. I just need better leads, I just need more leads, right? And then customers just kind of plop out the bottom. What's the problem with the funnel? Once you get things in the bottom of that funnel and they go through, it's just gone. If I had a funnel out and I poured a bunch of water in right now, I would just have wet shoes. So how do you build that? It's one and done in a funnel. So not thinking about how we can continually re-engage our customers is a huge lost opportunity. It's 10 times easier to get another sale from an existing customer than it is to make a new one. And so why not focus a little bit on where that content is easiest or where that next sale is going to come from that's most likely to convert. Repeat business is way easier to get. And so as we look at that, word of mouth, again, that top way that people connect and engage with us is way more likely to drive referrals and sales. So how do you get people to talk about you? Not frustrating them. How do you get people to connect and to keep your business growing? You just push forward and make yourself as relatable as possible. We were just talking about, all of the video and all the engagement, telling your story, telling your customers' stories. Incredibly helpful. So taking those customers and then getting them right back into your marketing mix is where this flywheel starts happening. So funnel versus flywheel then, this is where we start thinking about it not as a point in time for our marketing efforts, but continuing to re-engage with the people that matter most to us. So customers used to be an afterthought in the old model, right? Now, customers are at the center of everything that we do. We want to hit them with, of course, marketing, and that's the top part of the funnel. You can almost think of this as the funnel is just the water that drives the water wheel that keeps things coming back, right? I'm throwing all kinds of metaphors your way today. And then you can get people in, and then if you have to hit that marketing, then you're going to get them with sales and convert them and close them, but then you're going to meet them with as much and as best service as humanly possible, in the hopes that they will refer you more business. So, flywheel is growth. We're trying to attract our customers, and then we want to engage our customers, and then delight. And at the center of all that, what happens as a result of your flywheel being an active and engaging tool is that your business starts to grow. So, customer retention is more critical to your company's success than just acquisition. You can pump that pump all day long, but if the second you stop pumping, the revenue stops, you're in trouble. So why not have some folks help you? Again, I'm going to add more metaphors. Just throw some more buckets in for you, right? 5% increase in customer retention can increase revenue by 25 to 95%. That's because it's 10 times easier to make another sale from someone that already knows you or that's already working with you than it is to find that other customer or that new customer. Way easier. So, anybody heard of Jim Collins? Good to Great, right? He just created a new compendium book called Turning the Flywheel. We've all heard of this little company, Amazon, right? This is how they grew their business. They made sure everything that they did force-fed the next step in their company's business. So growing revenues by fixing costs, by driving costs down. That offered lower pricing on more offerings, which then increased customer visits, affected third-party sellers, more people wanted to come in, expanded the store, extended distribution, which led to the flywheel continuing around, growing and feeding itself because they did as much as they could. It's no accident that customers like you or customers who purchase this also buy. Or customers, or that the referral engine and the rating engine is one of the most popular and important parts of the Amazon experience. You're giving people the opportunity to share what their experience is, bringing them into your fold. So what is a flywheel? This is all of the steps of the flywheel. There's a lot on here, and we're going to go deeper into it. But at the core of your flywheel is probably your CRM if you're in B2B. Or it's just your customer database if you're B2C, or if you're running e-commerce, right? And then again, we talked about the service, marketing, and sales. You're trying to feed all of that, and that goes into attracting, engaging, and delighting your customers. And then you move them from strangers to prospects to customers and promoters. The flywheel is, of course, not really a new model for business growth because it's what good business has always done. But the funnel gets all the attention, and that's why I said the funnel is dead. To try and shock us into thinking more about customers as not just an end product, or the dog food, or probably what happens after the dog food's through the dog, but what you can do to keep engaging and growing your business. So you're trying to create momentum. I'm going to talk in a couple of slides about how you can start building that momentum by decreasing the friction, by increasing delight, by making people as happy as possible and giving them ways to share how all of that can happen. And then of course there's 3 inputs. How fast your flywheel spins, and this is back to the old Watts stuff. You know, your flywheel, the faster it goes, the more power it has. The more friction that there is in your process, it's going to grind your sales engine to a halt. And how much mass or activity that you've got. So if you're only doing one thing, if you're only putting out one blog post every 3 or 4 months, or as often happens with a lot of B2B customers, especially the more technical you get, you know, they just think, oh, I've got a website. Now that's grabbing a wheel and then just kicking it off in the dirt, right? So make sure that you engage and that you're making posts, that you're posting videos, that you're connecting, and that you're tweeting, and that you're publishing things that are designed to engage. And on networks that are designed to connect with your customers. If you're in B2C, or if you have a very visual component to your business, of course Instagram should be a big part of where you play. If you're looking at B2B, LinkedIn is probably an important part of what you do. This has been destroyed by the, you know, I'd like to join your network on LinkedIn crap that we all get every day, right? But if you use LinkedIn for the social part of where you can engage and start telling your story and start telling people how you can engage and keep growing and what the next thing that you can do with their business is, or even asking for more of that business, then LinkedIn can start working for you to grow your business. So, the flywheel can create customers who will happily drive new business for you. Not only delighting your customers so they'll buy from you again, but have them and encourage them to share for you by looking to what else do my customers, or who else do my customers know? How can I grow and how can I connect? Where can I get referrals? How can you have customer events that are designed to get people to bring their friends? So maybe having someone slightly outside of your own market, if I'm a marketing agency, having an accountant come in and talk about best practices for budgeting for whatever your customer is, or legal issues. I did a video back in, Visio has been around for 20 years now, I did a video in 2014, I believe, and it's still one of the most popular videos, and it's just a patent attorney talking about what you need to know when you're publishing on social media to make sure that you don't get hit with libel, or get hit with lawsuits, or have copyright issues. Hugely important and hugely popular. I actually need to go back and redo it because a lot of the stuff that she's talking about in that video aren't really around anymore. So, funnels are one part of your process, the part that brings in new business. So that's your blogs, your ads, all of your content, your connections. Once you really get the flywheel spinning, you can start leveraging and pushing ads towards other methods, towards the engagement process. You can do lookalike campaigns on Facebook. You can re-engage on deeper or longer tail keywords that you know that your customers or your prospects are already searching on, and start interweaving at different levels. But the goal is to bring as much of that content in, not forgetting about the funnels process in your business, but to keep growing and to keep it building. And then you always want to look at ways to delight and re-engage your customers. And I'll give you a couple examples. So here's some tools that you can use to engage. I'm going to zoom in on this because I hate the reading the eye chart level of PowerPoints. So if you want all of it at once, I'll move my big head out of the way for a second. You can take a picture. But I'm going to zoom in on each of these and talk about them a little bit. So first, attract tools. We know all of this stuff. This is where we really shine as marketers. Ads and videos, stuff that's designed kind of as E for everybody, tools that can drive more content and drive more engagement, blogging and telling your story, social media, of course, and then having a real and deep content strategy that not only talks about where people can use your customer or your service or your product, but how they can refer as well. So thinking about that a little bit further down the road, where how might you know that you need us again? Or how might you know that a friend of yours needs us? and then continually engaging at that level. Engage tools. This is where some of the salesy stuff happens. So having lead flows, and this is automation, right? So if they respond to a request, if they download a white paper, or if they view a video, or, I love some of the suggestions that we've had at sessions today about just having little demo, like 2-minute videos or less that can share. Because nobody really wants to book a demo with you and know that they're in for a 30-minute sales presentation. So why not just give them the highlights of your product or your service, or what's new about what you already do if you're trying to re-engage those existing customers and bring them on back. Email marketing, of course, can be fantastic, and you need to be targeted, because there's two kinds of emails. There's the email that's targeted, that you're like, oh yeah, this is directly for me, and then there's all the other crap. If I'm sending stuff out to lots of people, and it doesn't directly relate to them, what's that called? Everybody yell it out. Spam! That's good for Austin, Minnesota, but it's not good for marketing, right? So, lead management. Having an engaged sales team, if you'll forget the mushing of words, a smarketing team, sales and marketing, that's designed to work together, it's much easier to dig deeper and to share those leads and to actually make some connections between the people that matter most to your business and that next sale. And then you can even get deeper with conversational bots, things that pop up on the bottom of the screen and then answer those frequently asked questions that we all have in our business. Make it as easy as possible to connect and engage. This is reducing the friction, helping your flywheel spin faster. What's the worst thing that you can do for a digital native? Force them to call you instead of just letting them message you or research you online, right? So, the automation can help you grow. And then, the delight tools. How can you really knock your customer socks off? Smart content, things that's directly engaged and designed for them. And it doesn't have to be omniscient content. It just has to be based on what you know that your customer is doing. So if your customer is inquiring, or if you send out an email and there are 3 things inside of that email, each of those 3 calls to action on your email should have related content that lets them drill deeper. Every blog post that you have on your website should have related posts so that your content, or so that your customer can drill further along the process and self-educate on what matters most. And then attributions, marketing automation, all of the stuff that we should be able to do. The tool that I like and love is called HubSpot. You might have heard of it. Makes it super easy to just drag and drop that automation into a proper workflow so that you don't have to kill yourself. All you have to do is think about it once and then let the system grow deeper. There is a caveat though. You can't rely on just your automation to make the connections, right? This is where it can start feeling like a bot, like something that doesn't have any feeling. If all of a sudden you get 5 new emails, during the Twitter feed of DigitalSummit Minneapolis, I saw a whole ton of tweets that were about things that happened yesterday that were repurposing of blogs. That's a little bit off key, because it's not engaging in the conversation, it's just dumping a bunch of spam on top of what you already need, or what you already have, right? So, how to measure the flywheel and engage. First, you're going to ask yourself a bunch of questions, and there's questions for each of these stages: attract, engage, and delight. For attract, you know you need to provide value before you extract value. You're trying to get people in. Nobody wants to be spammed, and the oldest adage is, nobody likes to be sold on social media, but they do love to buy on the web. So how can you engage and make it feel natural? Make it easy to shop and buy. If I have all kinds of friction in my process, if I ask for a social security number or a credit card or a 30-question form in order to download that thing, you're providing a lot of friction. So you need to make it as easy as possible to get to the next step. And then delight. Customer successes are your success. Don't be afraid to share some of those customer successes, to applaud or to highlight your customers and say, Mary Smith and Very Cool are doing an amazing job with this particular thing. And maybe here's how we help, but maybe not. You know, the Airbnb that was talked about during the big keynote, you know, that was deep and it was engaging. And it didn't even talk about Airbnb until the very last second. Now you can fill this in for yourself. So I provide value to my prospects by, and then I filled this in for us because we're in marketing, and I figure a lot of you are as well, answering marketing questions and providing helpful tips and tricks. I make it easy for prospects to buy by offering easy ways to connect, simplifying the sales process, and removing roadblocks. Or I make my customers successful by adding more value, solving problems, going deeper, and anticipating issues that might arise. So how can you answer all of those? You can just scrub out my answers and fill in your own. Your forces on your flywheel. In order to attract, you want to earn attention, not force it. This isn't the way to spam. This isn't the way to connect. This is targeted engagement with people and what they're looking for, and useful content that's worth people's time. Anticipate and meet your customers' needs. Engage, building relationships versus just closing deals. Now, if your customer feels like they're the dog food that has gone through the dog at the end of this, you might want to think deeper about how you can connect and engage and make them feel like you really do love them. You're paying for your kids' college, so you should love them and thank them. And then focus on successes versus sales. And then delight. There's all kinds of friction that we as marketers put in if we overdo the keyword content in our blog posts. If we have too many calls to action, if we give people so many choices that they have analysis paralysis, that slows things down. And then over-deliver and solve the problems for your customers. So how do you maximize delight? The girl on the screen is my daughter. If you want to delight a 13-year-old, put her in any sort of contact with a horse. My sister's actually in the room, and she's the one that made the horse possible, so thank you, Julie. How can you better serve your customers? What don't they even know they need that you can provide to them? What else can you do to help them? And what other problems can you solve? And then look at those forces on your flywheel. Everyone's going to have different forces on their flywheel, so you can fill out a table similar to this. But for BusyWeb, for my company, some of the forces include marketing, how we drive the business, and currently one of the things that might happen is that customer questions aren't being answered. And so how do you answer those questions? You add frequently asked questions, or you streamline the engagement process with the chatbot. Make it more natural language. For sales, as an example, commissions might only be based on revenue in your business. That leads to a very obvious people trying to just get the sale closed and moving on to the next person, right? So maybe add compensation for repeat sales in your business. And then service. Customers might have problems with renewing your customer or your service. Maybe you're asking too much, or maybe signing up for an entire 12-month engagement with you again is too much. So have them go to month after that first year or after that initial engagement. And so streamlining a landing page for additional help as people renew can be an incredibly helpful tool. And then friction. This is what slows down our process. And so what are you doing that pisses off your customers? Remove those. Identify those points of friction. If anything can be automated to speed it up in a way that feels organic and real, do it. What can you do, or what can you fix via shared goals? And then how about adjustments to your team? If you're not meeting the specific needs of re-engaging and delighting your customers, you should probably think about hiring someone or repurposing some time for someone on your team to specifically do some customer outreach. So, sources of friction. Again, I'm making these up for us just so that you have them, but put together a table like this for your business and figure out, can you solve this source of friction with automation, with a new goal, or maybe even reorganization inside of your organization. For our example, maybe the support ticket response is slow. for people that are already engaged with you. Can I fix that with automation? Of course. I'm going to get that into a workflow and re-engage that customer that way. Missed customer touch points. How am I going to figure that out? How am I going to work it? Well, I could do it with automation. I could have additional people connecting with that customer, or maybe have a new goal. How many times are we re-engaging with our customers? And then incentivize your team based on that. And abandoned carts at checkout. Are you asking for people's social security number up front? Probably missing the mark. So, setting a new goal to allow people to get all the way through the process, maybe simplifying the process by only asking for a little bit of information, and then going back after the commitment has been made and after you've formed a relationship with that customer. So, in summary for us, funnels are a limited model for marketing. We need to think more holistically about our connections and our engagements with our customers in order to keep our business growing. Focus on your flywheel to grow your business. How can you engage, delight, and convert that customer into another engagement? Attract them, engage them, and then, of course, delight them at every turn. And make it as easy as possible to share everything that you do so that people understand how you can help them, how they can share what you can do with them, and then keep your business growing. Reduce your friction. Look really carefully at where you're pissing off your customers. If you're doing something that's throwing people out, or if you have a high abandoned cart rate at some level, that's what's happening. You're slowing your process down. In your re-engagements, if you send out an email and you get more unsubscribes than you normally would, don't do that again, right? Think about how you can make yourself as shareable as possible. That's how to get a hold of us, and have a couple of seconds that I'll be waiting for you on the side if you do have questions. Here's how to get a hold of us. If you would like me to look at your flywheel and to re-engage, just go to visuweb.com/flywheel. If you would like the premium version of the slides, you can also do that via visuweb.com/flywheel, and we'll send you the content. Thank you very much, and I hope this helps you generate growth.